What's up, guys? This is Ginger, and today this is Ginger Daily number 9. A little bit different of a format today. We're going to be talking about motivation and passion and how you can make those things work for you. This is going to be similar to like a Ginger Talk style of what I used to do before. And this is actually a subject that I've touched on in one of my earlier videos. I believe it was the one where I talked about why now is the best time to get into Melee. But first off, I want to read off some definitions of these words so that you guys understand exactly the definitions that I'm using to talk about these things. Because I feel like there are a lot of different ways that people can interpret these words and have meaning for them. So I literally pulled these from like dictionary.com or whatever. But motivation, the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving a particular way. And then passion, an intense desire or enthusiasm for something. That's what I'm using here. And so the process I want to talk to you guys about today is something that I've kind of come up with. It's not really like a groundbreaking thing, but it's what, why, and how. And you need to do it in this order. So essentially, what I want you guys to do, and what I've talked about before, is analyze your goals. What do you want to achieve, right? This is your what. Why do you want to achieve this thing? This can be difficult to figure out, right? But this is your motivation. What is the reason behind you wanting to do this thing? Right? And then the how is how are you actually going to achieve this thing that you want? And if you can figure all of that out, then it's perfect. But what actually goes into this, right? And what people get wrong a lot of the time, I think, so this could be why motivation isn't working for you, right? A lot of people talk about how motivation and passion are just fleeting things, that all you need to do is establish good habits and then you're fine for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter if you're passionate about something, it literally doesn't matter. And so I feel like people are a little bit misunderstood when they say things like that. So the process would look like you analyze what makes you feel fulfilled, that has you, at the end of the day, have some sort of sense of achievement, right? Some sort of sense of accomplishment. And what you do is once you have that thing, you know you want to achieve it, use that motivation you have, the reason you have to do this thing, and instead of just going out and grinding immediately, let's say, here's an example. I'll put this in Melee terms, right? Everybody's had it where you lose in a tournament, right? Let's say you went, 2-2 and you lost to someone that you thought you should have beaten, you barely didn't make out of pools, and you really, really wanted to. You're bummed out for probably like a day, the next 2 days maybe even. And then you start feeling, you know what, I don't want to drown in pools. The next national I go to, I'm not going to drown in pools. I'm going to do this. Now, a lot of people in this situation will run to their console. They'll run and just practice whatever. They don't really know exactly what they're doing. A lot of people will just go to net play these days and just start grinding, right? Next national comes up, same things happen, and they're like, man, I can't get out of this plateau. I don't know what's going wrong. It's because you're using this motivation and committing yourself to an inefficient process. So what you need to do with your motivation is not just hit the grind and exert physical effort. What you need to do is exert mental effort. You need to go and use your motivation to construct an efficient process that's actually going to help you reach your goal. So once you understand the process and you have the motivation to do that, then you can commit effort to that thing. And this is a concept that I kind of wanted to touch on that Toph talked about on his Twitter recently, about the idea of effort points and how much effort somebody's able to give to something, or how hard it is to do. And he talked about how, let's say, just to start a new thing, it can be really difficult because it's not built into your routine. So a lot of times you'd have to devote, let's say, 3 effort points, right? And you're at a max of like 10. So if you want to do 5 different things all at the same time and you're devoting 3 effort points to each, you're going to burn out. So obviously, if you establish good habits, it doesn't even feel like you're exerting that much effort, right? You just have the good habit and you just do this thing, and it doesn't really matter. Now, something that I don't think that he touched on that I think is really important is once you've established the habit, you first want to have a habit that's helping you feel fulfilled and something that you're passionate about. If you're passionate about something and if you enjoy it, it becomes much easier to exert that effort. So if you build a habit, have it be an efficient process, and you're passionate about that thing, he talks about how if you just have the first two, you just have to vote 1 effort point to it. Then you can achieve all 5 different things that you want. But if you're passionate about it, it's so much easier to commit yourself to. If you're having fun with the process, and if you feel enthusiastic about the process, then you're very easily going to achieve your goal because it feels like time is just flying, right? When I talk about effort, it's energy and time. right? And as long as you can enjoy that time and effort that you're spending on those things, then it's going to be so much easier for you. So one thing that I also wanted to talk about is that you should be prepared for setbacks. This happens a lot of the time where people are really motivated, they're really gung-ho, they go for something, and then they don't achieve their goal, right? But what you have to understand, especially in a setting like Melee, everybody is constantly getting better, right? And also, here's a quote from one of my favorite people, GSP, who's one of the greatest Ultimate Fighting Championships fighters in the entire world. He's amazing. And he says, "The ascension to be champion is not a straight line." And what I wrote here is that growth requires discomfort and perseverance. Constantly revisit your process. So even if you've achieved something in the past, using this process that you've come up with, maybe you get to a point where this process isn't going to work for you, right? It has a ceiling. And as soon as you get past that, if you have to beat somebody that's a little bit better than that, you're never going to get to that point with the same process. So maybe it's gotten you there, and that was its usefulness. But at that moment, you need to take a step back once you've lost and think, well, I just got to go commit. A lot of people would think, okay, I just have to go commit myself to the process again, and eventually I'll go up and up. But revisit your process all the time. I do this constantly. I actually talked about how I'm practicing with my coach, Drug Fox. I have lessons with him all the time. And I said, do you think this is a good way for me to be practicing? Because, it's good to get an outside perspective, and I think that's a really efficient way to go about things. And we talked about a couple different ways that I could retool what I'm practicing and make it a little bit more efficient for me. So I've reached, top 20 in the world at one of the hardest esports in the entire world, but I'm still revisiting my process and tweaking things so that I can actually reach my goals, right? But I'm using the motivation, right? I lost in tournament and I don't want to lose again. That's my motivation. That's the reason why I want to overcome and reach my goal. And then what I'm doing with this motivation isn't just going to net play and grinding every single day or whatever. I'm coming up with ways that I can practice efficiently, and that's what you guys need to do. So yeah, this has been my talk about motivation and passion. Hopefully this puts this in terms that you guys can understand. I feel like so many people just say, you just need habits. It's as easy as that. And what I will say is that the outcome, if you just have habits, is likely the same. You don't have to be passionate about something. If you just do the thing, the outcome will happen. But how hard is it to consistently grind something that you're not passionate about? There's no motivation behind what you're doing. I can't imagine a world where I'm not doing something that I'm passionate about. And it makes it so much easier to commit to that grind and figure out that efficient process if you are truly passionate about it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this has helped you, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.